All right, hello everyone. I see some people starting to trickle in. We'll give it a minute or two for everyone to find their spot here, and then we'll get started. So we'll give it another minute or so before we get rolling. Right, another 30 seconds or so, and then we'll get the show on the road. Awesome. All right, well, we'll get rolling here. So I appreciate everyone taking time out of their busy week on this Thursday here, and super excited to have you all join. A quick intro here. My name is Patrick Pennington, account executive here at ChurnZero, obviously, and today I'm going to be talking to you all about customer success and customer success data in particular, but then how we can share that information as well too. The really cool thing about these webinars, and why we love them so much here, we do them every month, is because the account executives get to pick and choose the topics that they're most passionate about. And for me, talking to 20 to 30 CS leaders in a given week, one of the topics that comes up in almost every single one of those conversations, whether it's in just a first call with them or whether we're deeper into the evaluation process, is how we can share and how we can increase the visibility of the customer success data throughout the organization. In most cases, we talk to customer success leaders and they tend to feel a little bit siloed, a little bit on their own in some regards, and they feel like they have to do a lot of digging to find a lot of information. But with clients of ours like Untapped and Fiscal Note and Smoothwall, they find a lot of information easier at their fingertips and easier to share that information throughout the organization as well too. So just a quick agenda for today's purpose of the call. One, we'll first talk about how ChurnZero works. Hopefully everyone on this call is familiar with ChurnZero. Super okay if you're not. I'll kind of go through high-level overview of how ChurnZero works. Second, we'll talk about some ways that you can share your CS info and sharing CS info in particular, but then more importantly, how we're going to get that information into the right hands at the right time. So when we jump into this, let's think about a couple of things. What information you are gathering today, what reports you're building out internally today, and then how really important that information is to other organizations, whether it's the sales team, the finance team, going back to the product team as well too. All of these are going to be valuable assets to you and your team as well. So once we get started, let's first talk about how you are going to use ChurnZero. So there's three main ways that our clients, like an Untapped and a Smoothwall, use ChurnZero really effectively. One is we're combining all of your disparate data. So when you're thinking to yourself, how is ChurnZero going to make this really easy for me to build reports and share information, is we're pulling everything from your CRM, your ticketing system, your usage metrics, your financial tools as well too, and we're pulling that into one spot for all of your information to come into. And that's going to create your ChurnZero instance. From there, the second way that you'll use ChurnZero effectively is actually getting some additional insight into the account level and into the contact level as well too. And then third, you're able to take action off of all that by creating a dynamic health score for certain accounts that you're working with, or for all your accounts for that matter. Finding out what the NRR is for your entire book of business at a click of a button. Really having very finite information and granular detail at your fingertips is really how our customers use ChurnZero effectively as well. And as we dive into this even a little bit more, today we're going to take a look at the really important part of sharing your customer success data. And if you have any questions as well today, as I forgot to mention in the beginning, there is a Q&A, so you can throw your questions in there and I'll get to them at the end as well too. And we'll be having a good discussion on that as well. So first, I'm going to have a quick poll here before we really get into it. How many hours a week are you spending building out reports? And we'll kind of give it a minute or so before these answers can trickle in. But these reports can be anything, whether that's getting an NRR to the right individuals at the right time, getting your GRR numbers, getting your health scores to the right individuals, whatever that may be. And give it a minute or so before that goes. There, 30 seconds or so, and then we'll reveal some answers here. All right, great. We can end this poll. So as the answers kind of come in, not really surprising that they're all over the place, right? There's no one right way to have and or how you build out your reports, right? So we can see that some of them spend from that 0 to 2 range, some of them spend 4 hours plus on that, some are in the middle as well too, which is perfectly fine, and that's how you are accessing your data and building out those reports. Some of the ways that we'll tackle this today is going back to that first point on how ChurnZero works effectively, is pulling all your disparate information together into ChurnZero. So, from the poll here, shocked to see that 0 to 2 hours. It means like you guys are working really efficiently and have this down to a T, which is great. But that is also still taking hours out of your week, where we're gearing up for you to hopefully have this in 30 seconds, right? Or a minute when you get that Slack notification from your CRO or your CFO, say, hey, I need the NRR number for this month. We need it ASAP. The board's pushing on it because we need these types of information, this types of detail. So, some of the ways that we're able to access or have, types of really input into how this works as well too, and I'll stop sharing this, we can go on here, is actually what these dashboards are going to look like. And the great thing about ChurnZero is actually going to be the customizability of how you can build out these dashboards. So for instance, here, our executive dashboard, this is going to shed some light into those higher level C-level conversations to get your voice heard at the C-suite level. A lot of times, like I'm talking to prospects and clients every week of mine, that they're saying that their voice isn't heard and they wish that they had an easier way to do reporting. This information here is going to be pulled from any number of sources of information. So when we're looking at, that, for instance, that NRR number in the middle, that's a very important number, especially in this times and in this economy, is how much business we're retaining, right? So this is the type of information that you're able to gather at the click of a button, and not only gather this information, but share it effectively as well too, which we'll touch on in a second. Even furthermore, how are we looking at revenue closed within the last 30 days? How are we looking at customer health trending over a 30-day period as well too? We can get really finite into the types of information that we're sharing throughout the organization and pushing that into a number of different levels as well too. And the great part about our dashboards, it's a slice and dice as well. So if you jumped on a demo today with one of our, any of our great account executives here at ChurnZero, they would be able to show you the ways that you can really leverage the information in these dashboards by having certain segments built out as well too, for your enterprise clients, for your small, medium business clients, and really slicing and dicing this in real time to get those real results as well too. So from even more finite information, when we're looking at the types of information that we're sharing on a manager level and working on your book of business as a whole, let's take a look at the whole team in its entirety as well. How are we looking at this information from a very finite level on the book of business and what CSMs have what types of accounts? This information is going to be crucial to really going through a deep dive of your accounts and making sure the right CSMs have the right book of business, especially if you have those more strategic CSMs or junior CSMs, making sure that no one is spread too thin and making sure that they have the right accounts at their level as well too. So not only are we seeing the book of business and the accounts that they handle, but also the dollar amount as well too, which is big. And again, these are just examples that we talk to every day for prospects and clients of ours, and this is what they like to see in their dashboards. You can create any of these widgets the way that you want to as well. So these are going to be just some quick snapshots of not only what this would look like in a ChurnZero instance, but how you can leverage this information really effectively and have higher level conversations with your CRO, your CEO, your CFO, those types of C-suite conversations. And again, when we're looking at a manager snapshot dashboard like this, which is one of our great dashboards that we have and reporting tools, the really big part that we're looking at here is the health of the account and where we're going to be able to tackle some of our big problems as well. We can see that in this particular instance, most of the accounts in the yellow are going to be okay. We have green healthy and red unhealthy. So we'll be able to see a quick viewpoint into that as well. So most of the times when we go through these and we talk about these dashboards, it's great to see. It's great that you can have them when you're logged into ChurnZero. But the great part about this is you can share this a number of different ways. So some of the ways that we can share this is through real-time alerts. So when you log into your ChurnZero instance and you wanted to log into this dashboard, you can have an alert sent to you and you can have this set up in real time and have this populate in you. A lot of the times what our individuals on the C level like to do is actually have this populate in their Teams or in their Slack, and they can have this information at their fingertips. One of the great ways, that our CEO, Yuman, he uses we're Slack users at ChurnZero, but he uses strictly Slack to check in on his accounts that he's working with because he's on the road a lot, he's at conferences, he's at trade shows, and he's talking to real-time clients every single day. So for him to be able to jump on to Slack in real time, have visibility into the account health, have visibility into who the CSM owner is, and have visibility into any information that he needs on that account level at the click of his finger is huge for him when he goes on these road shows and talks to clients in real time. Instead of having to text the CSM, Slack the CSM, email the CSM, however you get in touch with your team today, he can do this on his own. He can check the information, and we know the information is correct because this is all real-time data and real-time information that he can access. So a really great way from having a chatbot, whether you use Slack or Teams, is really utilized heavily as well. Secondly, we can push these into emails as well too. We can push them back into the CRM, which is a really important tool. We have Salesforce, HubSpot, whatever your CRM might be. Very powerful connections with that, and even more of a access to individuals that don't need licenses to be in ChurnZero can have access to this information as well. So when we're thinking of sales teams, if they handle renewals, all right, let's push out account information to our new business team or our renewal team and say this account is healthy. Here's what's going on the past 12 months. They're ready for renewal, and they can just query that information on their own, which is great to have at their fingertips and at their disposal. And then for more information on this, definitely contact any of your account executives if you're working with a team member already of mine, or you can also reach out to me or anybody of one of our great team members as well. But that's a lot of the ways that we can share information internally throughout your organization and not keep customer success siloed, especially in this economic headwind that we're facing right now. So with that said, we're going to go through, some other, couple ways, and, appreciate y'all joining. Wanted to run through some questions here. One question we have here: do you need access to ChurnZero to see this data? No, you do not. So you do not need to have a ChurnZero license to actually have access to the ChurnZero information. Like I said earlier, when you're looking at or when you're wanting to access information, all you need to do is make sure the individuals in ChurnZero are having that data up to date and correct. And then from there, you can have a report sent to your Slack every Friday at 8 a.m. You can have that sent to your email every Thursday at 3 p.m. Whenever you're getting ready for your board meetings, you can have those real-time alerts and real-time information sent to your team members as well too. So Slack's a great way, email's a great way. And if they did want executive licenses, we do have that option as well too. Yeah, great question. So how are some of your clients leveraging this today? So I talked about, our CEO, Uman. He's a heavy Slack user when he's on the road and talking to clients and being able to have real-time information at his fingertips and, real stories to tell. Having access to that is huge. But then also when we're looking at clients of ours like Smoothwall is a great example of what they wanted to do when they came in was to increase their churn, right? Decrease their churn, I should say. And what they were looking to do is actually have real-time alerts go out to the right players at the right time. And by implementing ChurnZero and a couple of the features and functionalities that we had, they were able to reduce their churn by 4% because they were able to get to the right information at the right time and see that a particular health score was dropping. And if their CSM saw that, they were able to reach out to the right person on their team to help tackle that and have those reports go out at the right time as well too. That's just another great story of how we can use this information to leverage those conversations as well. What types, another question coming in here, what types of reports can be built? Great question. So completely customizable, completely up to you. As we saw in the one example, we can build any types of reports surrounding NRR, GRR. You can actually set up more account level information as well too for account insights to share externally with your customers as well when you're looking at information such as getting ready for a QBR or an executive business review, a quarterly business review. You do those and having those frequently. So a lot of that information can be shared with your client externally as well. So those are just some of the great ways you can do that and totally customizable for what information you bring in. Again, we're pulling all that information in from disparate data points, your CRM, your ticketing tool, your finance tool, etc. And we're pulling that into one spot for your team to work out of and get this information and gather this information as well too. So perfectly, customizable for you and your team, and definitely some ways to do that as well. Let's see some other questions here coming in. Many of the graphs here exist also at CRM systems like Salesforce, so wouldn't that be a duplication? Well, Salesforce is great for sales, right? So I'm in sales and I work out of sales all day. The idea is to not only pull Salesforce information into ChurnZero, but other information into ChurnZero as well too. So when we're pulling information in from a Zendesk or a Jira or HubSpot marketing or Power BI, any types of that information, Stripe, ChargeBee, we're getting all that information to be pulled in and condensed into ChurnZero to have that built out for your CSM team, to not have to go to 6 to 7 different reports and go to your spreadsheets and build that out externally. You can build that in internally as well too. Got a hand raised here from the chat. Let's see here. Was it Tommy that had a question? I see. Let's see here. What about companies where the account manager handling renewals on the commercial level and the technical customer success handling all other technical issues and customer data like development changes, Zendesk tickets, overview, account health, and health color? How do you manage that? So let's see. What about companies where the account manager and the technical customer success manager? So yeah, that's a great way to share information in between the two. So if you have 2 different teams within ChurnZero and the account managers are handling other aspects than your more technical support managers that are handling your Zendesk tickets and information such as that, those are going to be information that's you're going to find in ChurnZero as well too. And you can have events dashboards that are going to be related off of that. So pulling in information from your Zendesk tickets, how many tickets do we have on this type of issue that we're seeing? How many types of product feedback requests are we getting for this type of product in our tool? We can query that information as well and run reports off that and send that to our product team. Say, hey, we're getting a lot of tickets on this particular issue here for XYZ, and this Wamboozle feature doesn't work. So let's go ahead and fix this with our product team because we're getting a lot of tickets on this. Or hey, product team, we're getting a lot of feature requests to build this out. Can we query this information? And this is what we see from our active customers today. Having those types of conversations are going to be really relevant as well too, because we can get that information in real time, pass that off to the product or dev team, and they can have those types of conversations as well too. So from question standpoint, that's all I saw. Certainly, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You have my contact information there with my email. You can also find me on LinkedIn as well too. And we really appreciate everyone's time today. After the call, we'll be able to have this sent to you from a recording perspective, and then some more information on customer success data and the shareability within that. But I appreciate everyone's time today. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and we will hopefully talk to you all soon. Thanks so much.